Good day. Hello, everyone. This is Jacqueline Charles, your hostess with the mostest. I hope everyone's enjoying this fabulous week. You know, I'm wishing you peace, love, and I was going to say applesauce. Please, peace, love, and abundance. This is the Women Are Worthy Network. I am the creator, the founder, and your host, Jacqueline Charles. We're here to educate. We're here to motivate. We're here to uplift. Anything that's positive, that's what we're here to do. We do not, okay? Let me come a little closer so you can see these pearly whites. Let me say this again. We do not, okay, deal with negative Nellies or negative Neds. We're all about positive Pollys and positive Peters, okay? That we're all about positivity. So today we have a wonderful, wonderful guest. We've invited our special guest today to discuss the importance of empowering Black women to heal from the emotional wounds they've experienced. Baby, I don't know about y'all, but I'm a Black and I'm a woman. You heard what I said? I'm a Black and I'm a woman. And we all have some emotional scars that we need to heal with or we've healed from, right? Because we know, you know, we're like endangered species, okay, as far as I'm concerned, right? So we have a wonderful guest. We call her Miss Naj. Okay, she told me I can call her Naj Smalls, right? So let me take a sip because when I say her resume is long and strong, I got to take a sip because I'm going to be parched, okay? So we're going to have to cut it down. She's a writer. She's a speaker. She's an emotional coach. Miss Naj is an expert in the field of emotional intelligence, trauma-informed coaching, and cognitive behavioral therapy. Yes, I got cognitive right. Yes, ding, ding, ding. And has dedicated to her life in helping those in need. So we will be discussing the importance of recognizing and acknowledging one's emotional wounds and how to find the strength to heal and to find peace. And you can find her on her website. And I'm going to put her website up, okay? Because when I tell you this woman is on the money, she's on the money. The Women Are Worthy Network, we are proud. We are so happy. We are honored to have the one and only Miss Naj. How are you?
Hello, hello. I'm so delighted to be here and to
Girl,
have this conversation.
that microphone again. That microphone again.
Oh no, oh no.
Yes, yes. It's skipping. It's skipping.
Oh,
So let's just, you know, continue with the interview, the conversation. When I heard about you, I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to have conversations because so often when we're, you know, at home in the Black community, we don't seek therapy. We're told whatever happens in this house, stay in this house. So we keep things bottled up, right? Right on point. We keep things bottled up. So then when we're grown, what happens is what happened to me, basically. I kind of compartmentalize that part. I shut it down. I built a brick. I sealed it. Never ever to think about what happened to me, right? And then I realized things were not going right. And I said, wait a minute. I need to seek therapy because something ain't right. I was lashing out. And through therapy, it was hurtful because she actually was the bricklayer. And she actually said, nope, we're going to remove these bricks. We're going to remove these bricks. And when she said that, Naj, I actually was having panic attacks because I didn't want to face what I went through, right? And this is a safe place for everyone, right? And I want people to understand we have to start dealing with our emotional scars, mental scars, in order to be the people we want to be, a great parent, a great husband, wife, significant other, girlfriend, you know, because we may have emotional scars from, I don't like dealing with women because they crazy. We may have, girl, I can't deal with my kids. Or, girl, how about me with in-laws? Okay? In-laws. So I want to thank you for coming on this show and being brave by following your path that God has laid out for you. And so tell us about this, this trauma informed coaching, this cognitive behavior, all these big fancy schmancy words. What is it?
So these are all methods, right, to help us on the path of healing what hurts us. But
All right, do me
in
a
order,
favor. Come out and come back in.
oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna come
Come
back.
out and come back in.
My
Yeah.
microphone is still crazy. Okay, I'm gonna come out and come
Yeah,
back in.
come out and come back in. Okay, so we're gonna get her. Y'all like my picture behind me? We're gonna get her to come in because earlier she was dealing with mic issues. So we're going to basically have her go out and come back in because I want you guys to hear what she has to say, because I'm telling you, her therapy and things that she's doing, the tools on how we can better cope has been so helpful. And most of you guys know that I've been, involved in sex traffic. I wasn't the person who did it. I was in it. So let's see if we can get Miss Smalls back in. Hello.
Hello, how does this sound?
Much better.
Ah,
Okay.
all right.
Don't clap. Don't do nothing. Okay. I want you to do anything. So tell us what this cognitive behavior therapy and trauma informed coaching, what is that?
So these are all methods, right? These are all techniques to help us cope and to help us heal, right? But the key is we have to sit down with a professional to find out which method is going to work for us individually, because it's not one size fits all, right? And different things, different levels, different types of trauma require different levels of coaching and therapy and so on. So that is where all of the big words that you just stated come into play. But one of the things we have to do, and I love that you kind of addressed this, you talked about lashing out, right? We have to really look at our reactions. It's all in our reactions, right? It's all in how we're showing up. That tells us if we need to heal and what we need to heal from. So you can start the process by paying attention to what triggers you. And what I mean by trigger means what sets you off, what causes you to overreact, right? And you kind of touched on it. So for me, one of the things that caused me to overreact is when I'm working with women, Black women, right? Particularly Black women, and in leadership positions, I would start to overreact because I started to feel pressure. I started to feel managed, right? And I had to look at myself and say, okay, something is going on here. And it was taking me back to my mom wounds. I was raised by, my mom was a single mother at quite some time, and she was no nonsense. She still is. Love her, but my mom is tough, no nonsense type of woman. She didn't really allow us to have, many opinions outside of her own, right? And so for me, that affected me as an adult, right? And I'll tell you, it's interesting how things work out, because although that was my trigger, I always seem to work for women, to work for Black women. And so it wasn't until I started to address these issues, because initially we point to them, right? Everybody else is the issue. Oh, it's her. I can't deal with her. Black women don't know how to lead, all the things. And then I had to start realizing, okay, something is wrong with me. This is a me problem. I'm the common denominator here. And so that's when I had to do the work to really peel back the layers and say to myself, what is it that I actually feel? What is this reminding me of when I work for these women, or when they ask me to do a task? Why is it so difficult for me? Why do I have to, face off with them, so to speak? And so that for me, I had to work through cognitive behavioral therapy to peel back that layer and work on that issue. So going back, bringing it back full circle to address your initial question is, different techniques work for different people and different situations. And I want to say one thing you may notice is, as you're on your healing journey, one thing that may work for you in one point of time may not work for you in the next phase or in the next level of your healing. And that's okay. We can't get frustrated and say, oh my God, I've been going to this therapy and now, it's not working for me anymore. No, that just means that you've reached a certain level and you began to plateau in that level, and that's fine. So now it's time to you to go on to the next.
I definitely agree with you on that because I look at this as a school system. Okay, going to therapy, or having my issues, going through therapy. I said, okay, I'm in pre-K, I'm in kindergarten, I'm in high school. Girl, I'm in college, I'm about to get my PhD now. Okay, because for me, my therapy was like twice a week, and I'll share, it was twice a week. First it was 5 days a week, y'all. Then it was, look, if you know me, you know I'm going to tell the truth. Then it was 3 days out of the week. And then it was, now it's on maintenance. Like when I find something that's going to trigger me, because before I can feel when I was going to have a panic attack because I wasn't intentional. I wasn't, paying attention to my triggers. So I can tell when I'm going to have a panic attack. And now my therapist, we're doing maintenance. I don't wait for the gas to run out of the car to go scrambling for
I
gas.
love it. I
I
love it.
know now, like when it's let me check my temperature on Friday. How do I feel? So now I'm doing so well doing monthly because I would after I react, then I would call her. So I'm working on being proactive before anything happens, before I explode, so to speak. But now I got this down packed that I think I could be a therapist. No, but and my question to you is, why is it, again, I'm only speaking about African American because this is the skin that I'm in. I can't speak for my Caucasian sisters. Why is it that we feel as Black women, because you hear it all the time, we're crabs in a barrel. We can't work together. We can't. And sometimes I believe, Naj, that sometimes we are what we attract. I believe we are what we attract. And one of the things I don't want to do is, I don't want to trauma bond with anyone. I don't want to do that. I am now, when I tell you, there's a song that says, I am woman, hear me roar, in Numbers too big to ignore, by Helen Reddy. I feel, I didn't sing it, YouTube, so don't give me a copy strike. I didn't sing it. So I just want women to, and that's why I brought you on, because I want women to live their life at their fullest. There's so many women that we know that are outside with this mask that they're perfect, and they're living in hell because they don't feel like a safe space to talk to their sisters. Can you address that?
That a lot of that comes from the damage that was done to us in the slave trade, right? A lot of us as women, we see things out of scarcity mindset, right? And so it blocks us from being able to be vulnerable with each other because we've been trained to perceive each other as competition. I gotta compete with you. It comes back to the plantation life. We had to compete with each other for roles and just for life, right? Many times it was just to stay alive. We were put in situations where we had to compete against each other. And so here it is, y'all. And this is transgenerational trauma at its finest. Here it is, years and years, centuries decades and decades later, right? We are still operating out of that same scarcity mindset, that same competitive mindset. So when I see my other sister, instead of me embracing her, instead of me being vulnerable with her, I'm immediately pushing her away, and I'm ready to start comparing myself to her. I size this sister up, look at her hair, her shoes, and all those things. And then I begin one-upping her. Anyone ever been there? And that is just how we have been conditioned. And then the second part of that, going back to what you said, particularly in Black families, I don't know about y'all, but my grandma always told me, you don't tell the family business. And we swept any pain, anything was swept completely under the rug. And see, when we don't do that, that is where shame lives in. Shame dwells in our secrets. It is fueled by our secrets, right? And so that's why we need to break down this notion of I can't, I have to be uber private. Let me tell you, being uber private and all of that, that's a trauma response. Okay. That's fear. That is fueled by fear. I'm afraid you're going to take something I give you and use it against me. But here's the thing, you kill it when you talk about it. Okay. When you open up and share that thing, no one now has the power to use that against you. I love that Barack Obama, when he decided he was going to run for president, he wrote The Audacity of Hope, and he put all of it out there. He said, I smoked weed, I did all of this XYZ, right? So therefore you can't use that against him because he wrote a book about it, right? And I had to do the same thing in The Black Girl's Guide to Healing Emotional Wounds. I wrote about a very painful family secret that literally made everybody in my family sick, including my mother and everyone in her generation, right? In terms of my family. And so the pain that I kept hidden inside for over 30 something years, I put it out there. I put it out there. And it was the first time I was ever able to talk about it freely. And now my family is able to have conversations and embrace the pain that hurt us and damaged our family so much, right? So I'm saying all of that to say that we have to stop seeing each other as competitors. We have to build a sisterhood. We have to see each other as sisters. Your success equates to my success. I'm going to cheer for you. I'm going to root for you because it's for the welfare and the health of all of us.
Well, I want to share some things. I have some points here. For me, I never viewed another woman as competition. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. And for those of you, hold on. Don't email me or text me. Let me finish. I never viewed another woman as competition because I wasn't raised by a woman. I was raised by a man.
Mm-hmm.
Men don't compete the same way we do.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen men break bread with each other who don't like each other, where women won't break bread because you're going to get some of that money.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't raised in that. So it kind of shocked me when I got older to see what women, I started seeing that when women, like my brother would have, two girls, because I come from a big family, would like him. And
Mm-hmm.
these two girls may be friends. And I saw how they would attack each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on? So, and growing up, I was mostly with guys.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of guy friends because I started seeing how women were. And I'm like, and then I was like a tomboy. So for me, I developed more testosterone like feelings than, estrogen.
Mm-hmm.
So when I created Women Are Worthy, I'm like, oh my God. Because when you're talking to a guy, I can say, man, just put that down. A woman, why you gotta say it in that tone? Why you gotta say it like that? Why you not looking at me? So starting this whole thing made me realize I have to watch my tone and because I know people like, just be yourself. No, because I'm like a guy, like, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, but a girl, what you mean, whatever? Why you gotta say it like? So I'm learning the language of women now. They're talking about the 5 languages of love or 4, whatever.
Love language, yeah.
I'm now learning the women's language. Women are from Mars, men are from Venus. Women, yeah, but vice versa. Same, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So true. So I'm learning the woman talk. So I'm learning now how to, for the past several years, how to talk to women where when it's a guy, it's not a big thing. Another thing that I developed basically was I have, young kids that I mentor. And one of the things that I do, and I'm starting to see my friends do it, which I love, any woman that I see, particularly one that I don't know, because I will go up to a woman. I'm living in Atlanta, and I have to do a disclaimer before I do it, right? So any woman that I see, and I've trained or I've taught my mentees and my interns, go up to a woman that you see, particularly a Black woman, but white doesn't matter, as long as she's a woman. But go up to her and give her a compliment. You never know. So I give at least 5 women compliments a day that I have no idea who they are. I'll go to the supermarket. Girl, you working them shoes. Girl, that hair is nice. And then they're like, girl, it's sweet. I ain't asked you about this a week. I ain't asked you all of that. Just say thank you, because we're taught, like, not to accept compliments. Say thank you, girl. Look at your teeth, or look at your dress. Not being phony with the compliment, but just doing that. So to give women, you go out to a restaurant, because sometimes that may be the only compliment this woman is getting for the day. Okay, so I notice when I do that, the shoulders go down. They're more relaxed, and because when I walk up to them, I can feel the tension,
Mhm.
the tension. And then when I start giving the compliments, and then my mentees are telling me, Miss Jackie, oh my goodness. So that's why I feel we need to start complimenting instead of criticizing our
That's
other
good.
our sisters. So that's what I do. It's not anything, it's just something I thought about one day. Like, walk up. Now I do get some that are like, but I don't see, my thing is, well, it ain't never gonna happen to me. Your issue is not gonna be my issue.
That's it.
Okay? So
That's
we're
how you
not gonna
do
do
it.
that. So if you having a bad day, you're not gonna bring your bad day on me. If anything, take your little behind to the corner and stay there until you get it together,
Mhm.
or just keep it moving. So so what made you decide to start helping African American women with trauma?
So there were a couple of things. Number one, dealing with my own issues and my own trauma. Right. As I started to do the work, and then as I started, pursuing my own educational pursuits, I knew that I wanted to work with women. Right. Then I worked with as a career counselor I'm in the DC metro area, from DC Ward 7 and 8, right? And those particular wards are those of the most socially disadvantaged women. And they're mainly, Black women, women of color. Many of those are the offspring of those that were impacted by the 80s and 90s crack cocaine drug epidemic, right? And so, with that being said, I saw a lot of the behaviors inside of these women that were inside of me. And I recognized that there was a commonality, that there was some toxic behavior that we as a community had embraced. And we even, not only we embraced it, but we celebrated. Somebody says something wrong to you and you ready to pop off and curse them out and all of that. We celebrate that. I would hear women go back and talk to somebody else, and they say, "Oh, let me tell you how I told her off," and they all having a little huddle and talking about that and saying, "No, sis, that's not the way you're supposed to treat that sister. Hear her out, and you hear her out." And so it was things like that. I saw the self-sabotage. I had conversations with these women about their relationships with men and so on, and their partners and so on. And I saw that same thing in men and myself. Many of these women come from fatherless homes, right? And I was I wasn't raised by my biological father, right? And that changes you, that wires you in a very different way. So
Mhm.
because you have you come from a home where your father is either not there, or he may be there and he's emotionally unavailable, or he may be in and out of your life, it gives you a wider bandwidth, right, to deal with that when you're dating. Whereas someone else, for example, may not have the capacity to deal with that. They may be saying, "Oh no, you're not showing up for me in this way. I can't deal with that. No, you don't make a good partner." And for us that come from fatherless homes, or homes with emotionally unavailable fathers, we deal with it, right? We put up with it. And many of us also, we saw moms, I know I saw my aunts stay in relationships way past their expiration dates, when they should have left. They should have left long ago. I remember I had a conversation with my aunt. I had to be like 16 or 17 years old. She was complaining about my uncle, my blood uncle. And I said to her, "Why do you stay? Why do you stay?" You know? And so, seeing that, even though I said those words to her, seeing that, I accepted poor behavior from men, because that is what I saw. They set the template for me. And so when I began working in DC, and this is way before I met my husband, um, I saw those same patterns in other women, right? And then when you work along, comparing and contrasting our white counterparts, I'm like, "Oh, you don't accept this, you don't allow, boo boo to come back in and take him back and all of those types of things, and it's like, I love Chris Rock, and he says, some of our white sisters, they were told very early on by dad, you are a princess, and they believe that, right? And so they don't accept anything less than princess behavior, you know and so that is kind of how I got to the place of starting to write this down, because I wanted to share my healing with the rest of the world. And the way that I chose to do that initially was in turn of the book. So
And see, because I didn't have a mother, my grandparents also helped raise me. And I was so close to my grandfather. Everyone thought that I was his child. That's how it was with he and I. We were like the closest, right?
oh.
And I remember even my cousin would say, I remember him waking me up early in the morning. That's because I'm a morning person. I can get up 4 o'clock in the morning. That's because that's what we used to do. We would go in the back and he would feed the animals. And I'm right, little kid. We would go swimming. He would put me on his back to go swimming in the ocean in Jamaica. So I remember him saying, I don't want you to have children out of wedlock. Check. I don't want you living with a guy. Check. And again, it wasn't all my friends or whomever's doing that. It's not, I'm just telling you what he told me. Everything he told me not to do, I have not done. Right.
Mm.
He also told me, and the way he treated me was like, I'm telling you, it was so magical. And to be perfectly honest, any and every relationship I've been in, I've never been in a horrible relationship. If anything, I was the boo boo, the clown in the relationship. Okay. This year I'll be married 34 years. So I've never had a bad guy. I'm going to be honest. I've never had a bad boyfriend, a bad fiance. And I said fiance because I don't kick them to the curb, but for whatever reason. But I've never had that, guys putting hands on, because my grandfather too. I mean, we would talk about how a man should treat a woman and what I shouldn't accept. He was so ahead of his time. And I remembered everything he would say, and plus I'm an empath, so I can pick up negative energy. I can pick up like, nah, and if you're gonna let me walk all over you, I don't need to be with you, So I'm not priding myself because I didn't have a mom. So where my deficit fell in was I didn't know how to be girly. I didn't know how to, because usually men, whatever's on their mind, they speak, they say. I have no filter. I am the black sheep in my family because I spill everything. Okay, this going on over here. I spill the secrets. Okay, I don't have time to let's shut the door. This is what's going on in the family. Let's talk about it. But other people in the family would say, "Oh my goodness, she's spilling the secrets. That's the family dirt." No, we got to. I don't believe in putting it under the carpet. I believe we need to go ahead, lift the carpet up, wash the carpet, rip the band-aid off the issue, and let's fix it. But my family is not that way. But I'm that way in how I live my life. Full transparency. Blood, guts, and all. And then too, what I believe people need to realize, and I'm going to do a show on that. You have to learn to stop giving a crap. Okay, what other people think. Okay, you've got to start learning to just do what makes you happy. Of course, things that are in alignment with, the nature, God, and spirituality, whatever you believe in. But I've learned, like, I give less than two craps what other people think about me. I don't care anymore. It feels good. So it's just interesting to see what you're doing, how you're helping people. So, what would you say is the most common misconception in in Black women and trauma bonding, or just healing our emotional wounds? What is the biggest misconception that you've come across?
I think the biggest misconception is in regards to trauma bonding. I think a lot of people think that trauma bonding is just limited to, he's got issues, I got issues, she's got issues, I got issues, and then we just skip off together, and that's trauma bonding. No, trauma bonding is how you handle the issues, right? Because you can be two people that are hurting and healing, but if you're on the road to healing, if you're holding each other accountable, that's a great thing. But in trauma bonding, usually one person is kind of manipulating the other person, right? And trauma bonding is you are bringing your traumas together and causing more harm than good, right? So for example, if you when you and your friends get together and all y'all do is gossip, right? All y'all do is uh, isolate yourselves from everyone else, right? And then you know they're wrong. You know they come to you. You ever had that friend that comes to you and they tell you the story? Oh, this is my sister and I had this fight. And instead of you saying, "Well, sis," when you see wrong, "Hey, I think you may should have worded it a little differently." You just agree with them. You're enabling them. You're empowering them. That is really what trauma bonding is, right? And it happens a lot in our friendships. Trauma bonding truly says, I can count on you to always take my side,
Mhm.
even when the worst of me shows up. And that is toxic. That is toxic because it prohibits us from really doing the work and holding ourselves accountable in situations, right? Because you always have somebody enabling you.
Mhm.
And so I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. I also think the other misconception is that it's instant. It's overnight. Healing is a journey. It's a lifestyle, right? And as you heal one trigger, you may learn 2 months later of a new trigger that you develop. Because here's the thing, this life that we are living is flawed, right? We are flawed beings. We have to deal with other flawed beings and so on. So there are going to be new triggers that show up. And sometimes people get frustrated, like, I thought I was whole, I thought I was healing. No, no, no. There's new things that are going to happen to us, right? And so we have to continuously do the work. Another thing, and you kind of touched on this earlier, mental health in our country has always been very reactive, right? Something happens, then we seek out services. No, 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 no. And this is something that I am really going to fight for, particularly for us, for Black Americans, right? Because it should be more proactive. Just as you go to get your annual physical and annual checkup, just you go get your annual mammograms and all of those other things, we should be always seeing a therapist or always seeking out therapeutic services, whether we are dealing with a crisis or not. Because if we are proactive, when that crisis comes, and in which it will, we already have the tools so that we're not consumed, we're not overwhelmed when life truly, as I say, when ish gets real. So I really am an advocate for us pursuing therapeutic services, pursuing therapy early, reading the books, getting all of the tools, coming into platforms like this one that you have, and getting all of the tools so that not only we can help ourselves, but we can help our children, we can help our daughters, we can help others that are out there. We saw us become triggered when George Floyd was murdered, right? We saw that. We saw a nation of people that were triggered. We saw, and I'm not sure who everyone voted for, but I can tell you this. I will be honest with you and tell you this. My mother was triggered by some of the things that a previous president has done and says. And my mother is from she grew up in Jim Crow South during the civil rights era, right? She went to the first integrated high school at her hometown. So she remembers vividly the feelings of not wanting to be there and the feelings of having the Klan march around the town or march around the school as well when they integrated that school. So a lot of the things that happened triggered her and triggered many of her peers and my uncles and my aunties and so on. So that is why I say, sometimes we'll think, okay, I'm over that. That happened 20 or 30 years ago. And then something happens and we're right back to that same, we're feeling that same feeling, and then we're having the flashbacks and all the anxiety and the panic attacks and so on. So that is the misconceptions in this
And I
world.
want to put a PSA out. I'm going to do a separate video for this, but I'm going to put this in this one. If I hear one more friggin' time of someone saying, why did she wait 20 years later to open up her mouth? Why did
Yes.
she wait 30 years to open up her mouth? Okay, let me explain something to y'all without with me trying to be all professional because I got a professional woman in front of me, okay? We have to, first of all, I hear that from men, but I am so flabbergasted when I hear women. We got to stop. Okay, ladies, we got to stop this foolishness that if a black man does something to us, we won't report it to the police, such as if he harms us or we don't, because we don't want him in the system. If you're talking to him and he's going to continue to do that, don't hold yourself hostage that you don't want to call the popo because you don't want to get him arrested, especially when it's an arrestable, if that's a word, charge. Okay, we got to stop. This is what I'm talking about, protecting our black men. Okay, when they're doing us, okay,
They're damaging us.
they're damaging us. We have to stop protecting them, because what you're doing is you're creating a generation after you that's going to be damaged, right? The second thing is, as women, shame on you. Shame on you for telling other women, why'd you wait 10 years? Why? And I'm telling you, because I know for me, it was like close to that, because you built up a wall. You forget, you want, it's like you buried it. And I'm telling you, it's exactly like you buried it. And or you know what it's like when you put something up and you can't find it and you don't know where it is. It's almost like that when you hide something in your brain, because when you hide it, that's a coping mechanism. So what you're doing is, now that all this stuff is coming up with a particular person, you're like, they did that to me. And I'm so sick of our sisters saying, why you wait? Why did she wait 10 years? I expect that. I'm gonna be honest. I expect that from most
Men.
men to say it.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
I expect that. But as a sister, and when I mean sister, you got a vagina, you're a sister. Okay. No, and anyone outside it, don't email me, don't ask me nothing. That's what I said. Okay. I said what I said. I don't want, we have to start nursing and nourishing the wounded. It's almost like in the Marines. It doesn't matter if you get wounded, they go back. If they're in the middle of something, they go back and get the fallen heroes. We got to start doing that with each other. Even if you don't believe the person, keep that to yourself.
Right.
Keep, and you know what? If you ain't, remember the old saying, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say it, because you don't realize this is why they never reported it 20 years ago. Because
Right.
the man was in power, no one would believe them. So what you're doing now by calling this person, well, why didn't you? That's making someone else who's hearing you say that not step up, step out, and show out. So please, if there's anything you're taking from this other than Miss Naj's information and her contact information, please, let's start being more sympathetic to the plight of other women, whether they're forced, whether they're attacked, whatever's going on, whether even if they're unalive and we hear the stories. Let's just be more sympathetic, because I'm telling you, listening to those women were triggering for me. And when women were saying that, I wanted to get physical, because I'm like, how dare you? Even celebrities who were saying that, like, why did she wait 20 years? Why did she wait 30 years? Whatever. You know, I think we got to be more compassionate. And some guys may believe it, because, again, we expect some guys to go along with that. We
Oh,
expect.
yeah.
And when I mean go along, let me explain, because I'm telling you, y'all ain't sending me no emails. So let me explain this now. When I mean go along, I don't mean go along with the act. I'm talking about go along, because you got to remember, it's men that created this Fifth Avenue advertising that a woman should look like this, she should dress like this, her waist should be this small. And I'm pretty sure, I'm sure, but I'm going to check it out. And if y'all need to check it out for me, find out who invented the BBL. I guarantee it was a man. Okay. I guarantee all these things that are constricting for us, the bras and this and corsets and stuff, I wouldn't be shocked if it was a man didn't invent it. By me saying this, I love all men. I just don't like the ones who are pulling us down and separating us. Even in corporate America, they pit us against each other. We have to stop blaming men. We have to stop blaming slavery, right? Because I don't know what slavery was all about. I mean, yes, you watch television, your family may share the history, but you as a sister, Naj, didn't do anything to me. So when you walk in a room, Light, your light can't diminish my light
Right.
at all. So if anything, let's light together and let's make the sun. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? That's
Mhm.
what we need to look. I done went off script, went on different sermon. Don't know what I done did, but I did it. So
And I do want to add this to it. Men protect each other. They support each other, even if they don't. Even if it's in silence, right? I'm not going to say anything. I hear no evil, see no evil kind of behavior. But for us women, we've been trained to support men, to always take their side, right? And so that's part of what we're getting when people start questioning. And we have to understand, when you're saying, why does she wait so long and so on? Please remember that the Me Too movement and all of this wasn't wasn't around 20 and 30 years ago, right? A lot of the laws that we have in place and so on weren't around 20, 30, 40 years ago. So now we have empowered women to speak up. And we have to understand when we are saying these things, we are disempowering women. These are disempowering words. And think about if you have a daughter or a niece, how would you want them to respond? Even if it happened 20, 30, 40 years ago, you would want them to have the language and be able to share so that whatever needs to happen to the one who offended them happens, right? So we have to, like you said, if you can't say anything nice, just shut up.
look, I'm going to take it a step further, and I don't know what it's going to do, but I'm going to do it. We have to stop being hypocrites.
Mhm.
And what I mean by hypocrites, if it was a person who was Asian,
Mhm.
Indian, Caucasian, oh, it wouldn't have been that. But because again, protecting our own, like that big case that we saw that's out there,
Mhm.
the black women were coming out against this older celebrity, and people were like, wait a minute, we can
Mhm.
talk about even the Mr. Kelly.
Mhm.
I'm like, come on now. And people are telling me, well, I still enjoy. Okay. I'm gonna have to do another show because I'm telling you, because when I hear people say, I love his music. Okay, I'm gonna save that for another show because I'm gonna get in trouble with this one. So let me leave that for another show. But I'm so passionate about us supporting each other, loving on each other. We
Right.
don't have to like each other, but we should at least love and respect each
Right.
other. Don't like our actions. And sometimes we need to give each other grace. Like I said, I
Yes.
didn't like women at one point. When God told me I need to do women are worthy, I'm like, women are what? Women are who? And who I'm working with? Women. No, you crazy. That's exactly what I told God. I'm not doing it because I see how they are. He's like, I got you, Jackie. I said, I said, I'm gonna do the Superman role. You got me, who's got you? You see how you crazy? You see, I'm telling you. He's like, Jackie, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. You got the personality. You're so diverse in so many groups, you're accepted in so many different cultures. Go ahead and do it. And he did. He kept his promise. He's like, I got you, and he got me. And I just want women to understand we can't think about outside people helping us. We got to help ourselves first. We
That's
have to
right.
take care of each other first because how can we stand together? It's almost like Naj, when I tell my girls, I want you to we're standing around in a circle holding hands. You're in the middle. I want you can waver, you can trip, but our job is to make sure that you don't fall. That's
Right.
our job.
Right.
So, how can you tell people how to get in contact with you, your books, and things like that? We want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Women Are Worthy Network. I hope you got something out of it. Again, I'm the hostess with the mostest, the media maven, Jacqueline Charles. In order to keep this rolling, we need you. In order to, if you want to be part of our tribe, you must subscribe. And I'm all about sharing is caring. Share the page, share the show, because I think this was a great show today, if I do
Yes, it
say
was.
so myself. But it was a great show. We had a terrific guest who's an expert. So please share with them and tell them how they can get involved with your organizations.
Sure. You can go to the website, The Black Girl's Guide to Healing Emotional Wounds.com. It is filled with resources, books, blogs, articles, journaling prompts, everything you need to get you started on the healing journey. In addition, we have begun using artificial intelligence, AI, but we're using it in a positive way. We have an AI wellness coach named Rashida that can help point you to the resources you need, whether it's there, whether you need a therapist, whether it's free therapy, whether you need spiritual healing. Some of us have suffered from church hurt and trauma at the hands of church leadership and so on. It is there. That's a whole other subject, Jackie, we could talk about. But anyway, go to the site.
I need to bring you back on the show to talk about church hurt. Oh my God.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh
we
yes.
need to do that.
Grab the book, The Black Girl's Guide to Healing. That will get you started in your journey. Even if you feel like it's not for you, get it and grab one for your girlfriend. There are prompts at the end. There are action items, questions for thought. Read it with your friends. Read it with your small group. Read it with your book club. I promise it will change your life.
Please go out and get it. And again, you know, if you're looking for a speaker, I'm a motivational speaker. I'm doing a plant-based cooking show because, as some of you know, I'm vegan. So I go out there talking about self-care because you know, those are the things I talk about. Relationships. I'm a relationship coach. Hey, married 35 years. I better be somebody coach. So coaching through it, you know, and you know, recipes go on my website. My website is JacquelineCharles.com, JACQLYN, Charles, CHARLES, like, you know, Ray Charles, but Jacqueline Charles. So again, we want to thank everyone for tuning in, you know, and we want everyone to have a wonderful, wonderful life. Please don't think that therapy is not for you.